Hey guys, and welcome back. So this lecture is important. It might be a little bit longer some of the other lectures, but it's a really important part to your edit. You can see so far we're going across and doing things like text and B-roll, and we're zooming some shots in, creating some movement. This wouldn't be exactly how I would do this edit. It all depends on what your target audience is what your purpose is. For this and how it looks. For example, this branding text is very different from this branding, and I would have kind of one theme across the whole thing. But I'm showing you step by step how to do all these things, and the most important part now is audio. I think the way to create an emotion behind any edit is music. Music and sound effects will really elevate your edit to the next level. Now, if we go up here into audio, there are audio tracks on here, and you can do a copyright check and it can let you know now whether there's, well, let's click on it and show you. You can run a copyright check and it will tell you with your music you're using if it's copyright and where it is. But basically, as a rule of thumb here, music here is going to be okay to use inside TikTok. CapCut is part of TikTok, so you can use it there. But if you're going to then repurpose these videos anywhere else, if you're making using desktop and doing a 16:9 video like I'm showing you this shape here, probably for YouTube or maybe an independent production for a company or something, where this music, if you uploaded it to certain platforms, may flag as copyright, which on something like YouTube will probably be fine to use, but you can't monetize the content. You'll be able to play it most likely, but you won't be able to monetize it. So you can use another source for this. So let me show you the ones that I like to use the most. Here is MusicBed. I really love their music. They've got great, like, artists upload their maybe not stuff you hear in the charts, but artists upload their tracks and you can use them. It's a subscription fee. There is, let me see what the pricing is right now, somewhere around $20 to $30 a month or so. Yeah, $29 a month. And you can have access to their music, and it is a really good library of music. You can also download your tracks from, if you go into the YouTube Studio library here under audio library over on the left, there's all these tracks you can use inside for YouTube, and you can download them from here, and also there's sound effects, etc. So they're your two options to be using. Let me go back onto CapCut and let me just show you in your folder of downloaded footage. Here I've got the folder open. These are the main shots we used. Here's your B-roll, and then there's an audio folder too. So I've actually got a few songs in here. If I hit spacebar, here's some music in here, music, well, that's in the sound effect, music, music, sound effect, sound effect. So I've put these in here for you to use. Now these are from MusicBed, so they have copyright. You won't be able to use this on YouTube. It's just for practicing for yourself, unless you have a license for MusicBed. But you won't be able to use these. But to practice with for this edit, they're absolutely fine. So in much the same way, let's go back and make sure we're on media. Let's just, the easiest way to do this, let me just grab, I don't know, this song here. Let's just drag that onto our media. Here it is right here. We can see it peaking. It's quite loud right now. In the exact same way as we've done everything else, let's drag this on, and I can quite easily move it across, back and forward. I can trim the front off by dragging. Let's move that over here. I can see it peaking right there, so I can just change the volume down if I wanted to. And this is down to personal preference. If you are editing, you might find that you want to be around the -20 something. This is all down to your personal preference with your video and your creative want and need, I guess. So let's go split tool again. Let's cut the end off of this track. Let's select that and make sure we delete it. And now the track finishes right here where I want it. We can have a little listen if I turn this up, and let's see what that sounds like.
Video editing, I just love it. It's the most magical part of the production.
You can hear it coming up.
Sure, I love coming up with video
and coming up more, and it's about to drop. I can see in the waveform.
I come back home, sit down at my desk.
So that might be slightly too loud there, or you might want to have it this volume and then drop slightly here. I can show you how to do that. That's in the, so we had the adjusting volume. Let's make sure we adjust it right here, up and down. Also, if I click on here, you can see there's a waveform line there. I can drag that up and down. Here is what you need to do to make sure, like this was a good example. I'm going to just take the front off of this take the front off of this shot here. If I drag that there, because it's very quiet, drag this over, and I can see here, see this audio waveform is, let me zoom in slightly to show you more. This is where it kind of peaks. So I'm going to, about here, I'm going to add a keyframe, and I'm going to add a keyframe right here, and I'm going to put that down to -30, so it actually gets quieter because I know the music was naturally getting louder. So let's play that now. If I turn this up,
Sure, I love.
Maybe that's slightly too loud. I can also put in another one here, put in another keyframe. Let's just move that down again to -33. Let's play that back and have a look up here as this moves. So -22.
The production process. Sure, I love coming up with video ideas.
And that is exactly how you add keyframes for audio. So you can imagine that if you've got, for example, you might have, and a lot of people have this, you have a talking head video like this, and then it cuts into B-roll, and I wasn't talking still, you can see that I am. You might want to add a keyframe, bring the music up, and then bring it back down again before you start talking. That's very common for edits, and it's once again down to your own personal preference. So in the exact same way, if I go back over to, let's take, I don't know, this swish sound effect. I'm going to drag that on right here. So I can, well, we can edit inside the timeline, as we know. Let me take a edit here. So you remember this effect we did, this transition. See, it had that. Boom. I want to have a swish sound effect. So I can either click this and you can hear them. So I'm just going to grab one. Grab the whole thing. I'm going to put it down here. I'm just going to have this. I want to get this part. I can see this waveform here. Multiple ways to do this. Let's do the blade. Let's cut here. Let's cut here. Let's make sure we have it selected for cursor A. Remove this. Remove this. Now, where was that transition? I can see it here, gray. So if I move it along to match here, and if I drag across, okay, let's have a little listen.
Love it. It's the most
Okay, that's good, but I want it to be slightly quieter. Let's play it again.
Love it. It's the most
and I think it's slightly too, let's change the speed to be slower just to hear. Let's do that.
Love it. It's the most magical.
Okay, so these are very small little subtle changes, but you'll see it. If I drag through here again, see when that came in, it might go shum, shum. Or I might have, when text comes on screen, like, again, there's another transition here, I might crackle that. You can find a crackle sound effect if you wanted to. And then when this text came up, maybe I'll have another sound effect. And with the other text that we had coming on later, like, I might have, it just comes on, it might go thud, thud. There's a thud sound effect in here, which you can use. So in exactly the same way, I can drag the thud sound effect on. I can see it's all of that bit there. So let's go and drag this onto here. Let's scroll down, put it on there. I can see that it comes about here. Thud. Okay, let's have a look. So that's obviously extremely loud. Let's basic, let's go back down and remind -32.
Magic happens.
So I would have two of those. Thud, thud. These are the things you can do here with music. So I would go on, find yourself a track, download your own, use one of mine, put it on here and start playing with. Maybe the music starts loud, then it goes quieter as you start speaking. Maybe it picks up, drops it. You need to play with some keyframes to understand that, and then put in some sound effects when these texts are coming on and it's swishing in and out, or thud sound effect. Or I think in here I have another one which is a ding sound effect, which is actually a video. You just need to drag this on and then take away the video with the eye if you put it onto a different layer, etc. So you can do that. That's kind of the homework between here and the next lecture. Audio, so important. So let's do that. Now, this isn't the case in this edit. The audio is pretty clean on here, but I just want to show you. If you click on this, for example, and you had a shot that had an aircon machine perhaps, or you're outside, or traffic noise, or just some noisy footage, something that wasn't quite as clean as you want it to be able to pick up your voice. If you go click on the footage, go on to basic here on video, scroll down, and you see noise reduction right here, and it starts processing. I can choose if I want it weak, strong, what I want it to look like, sound like, sorry, how strong that's going to be. And you'll see the difference. Perhaps sometimes if it's too strong, it might sound slightly robotic, but it's going to process, and then you can hear noise reduced. I can just play that.
Happens. I love it. Putting in.
So what it does is it just picks out your, I'm going to control and undo this, Control Z. We don't need it for this footage, but if you do have it, what it's doing is trying to pick out where your voice is and remove everything outside of that. But do use it sparingly, strong, weak, if you really need it. The ideal scenario is you don't, and you've got good audio with a microphone or something, but the tool is there if you need it. I'm going to go ahead and do it now and play with this, and you can see what I do in the next lecture. There'll be a whole draft edit for this. You can check that out and then see what you come up with. I'm interested to see. So let's do that, and then we're going to go into the next lecture. We're getting on towards the end now. The next lecture is color. We're going to start changing the color, which is another way to evoke emotion, but also to get yourself a very professional looking quality behind your video. So that was audio. Let's go on to color.